girl. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle, and around here we talk all things bookish and bookish adjacent. So if that's your jam, be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. And I welcome all of you. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to get into a fall reading recap. I feel like I'm super late in getting this out. I looked up, November was over. I hadn't done an October reading recap. I barely read anything in November, a couple of books here and there. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to do a fall mashup recap and call it a day. And I think I had 8 books on my original October TBR .M because the maybes. And I had a few possibilities that were on the back burner just in case. I didn't get to any of the back burner stuff, so that got next. And then I think I added and took something off of the TBR. All in all, I think I ended up with 7 books that I read in October. So we're gonna recap those. I'm guessing, like pretty much every other book person out there, I leaned into the cozy fall vibes that October, especially in the US, calls for. The month just screams. It screams thrillers, it screams fantasies, cozy vibes. You just want to snuggle up with a good book and your blanket and a latte. Now, a pumpkin spice latte. Hear me out though. Like, I typically don't like anything pumpkin spice, okay? But somehow, some way, I got hooked on pumpkin spice lattes. Actually, pumpkin spice flavored coffee-esque drinks. Let me say that. Because here I made a pumpkin spice chai latte. So it's really just a chai latte, but then I did pumpkin spice foam. So there's that. Oh, it's so good though. It's so good. It's like a warm hug. Even though I love the pumpkin spice lattes, I will say that I can mark myself safe from the pumpkin spice latte. What is it? Pumpkin spice cafe book. I have not read that yet, but I have FOMO about it. Like, I feel that everybody has read this book. And so I, I've been toying with the idea of jumping into it because I want to read the one that's like a Christmas version. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I want to read that one in the series, but I don't necessarily think I want to read the whole series. So comment below if I should read the pumpkin spice and then the Cinnabunny thing and then the Christmas one. I can't remember the names of these things, guys. Or if I should just skip over all of them and read the Christmas one, or if I should just skip it all together. Because, I mean, FOMO is real. I'm telling y'all. This is also why I'm telling you to subscribe to my channel because FOMO is real and I don't want you to miss out. All right, so let's get into this recap. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I read 7 books in October, and October feels like it was a year ago. Real talk. So I had to kind of look at my Goodreads a little bit to refresh my memory. So bear with me on these recaps. Like, I mean, literally it's forever ago. I have to do a better job at keeping my notes for stuff because your girl's memory is lacking. Also, if you're new here, I'm a city girl. I live by the train. So if you hear the train going by, I will try my best to clean it up in post and do what I can. But if you do hear it rumbling, it is the L train. All right, let's get into it for real this time. I started out October with a banger. I read Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Y'all, this book, it's good. It's a YA fantasy, and I know what I said about YA, but mind your business. But no, I think I really like YA fantasies though. Maybe not some of the other genres, YA versions of the other genres, but I think the fantasy might be my jam. This book was so good. It's about a girl named Bree, and she goes off to college, or no, she goes off to an early college program after her mom dies. And almost as soon as she gets there, she sees like this magical brawl. She went with her best friend, by the way. She sees like this magical brawl that she wasn't supposed to see. And like we do, she started digging, and she uncovers like this secret society on campus, and she actually finds out that it's connected with her mom's death, and she finds that out because somebody tries to erase her memory. it it's a lot happening, but it's actually really, really good. I do remember feeling like, well, wait, let me go back. Okay, so when someone tries to erase her memory, it activates her magic that she didn't know she had. And so that is when I was like, okay. So the black girl is magical, first of all. I mean, we are, but still, the black girl is magical. And then she's now on deck to save everybody. And I was like, here we go, here we go. The magical black girl comes in to save everybody's asses. Um, and that's a little bit of what happens, but I actually love the way that it happens in this book. It was just so captivating. Not only the magical aspect of it, which was pretty cool, but it had some historical tie-ins. It had some cultural garbs. So, like, and I love a good historical situation. It really made this book dope to read. I love the touch of romance vibes. It's YA, so there's not a lot happening, but there is some stuff going on there. I would love to see this book as a movie. I gave this one 4.5 stars. Gotta thank Tracy Dion for this series because it's legit. So then I started the creepiest book that I've read in a very long time. I am referring to We Used to Live Here by Marcus Klewer. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. When I added this book to my TBR, I had no idea it was a horror book, okay? I thought it was a thriller and I was dead wrong. Um, remember how, if you watch my new video, I said that I don't really mess with horror? Yeah. Um, because I'm a scaredy cat? Yeah. This book, I started it and then my husband went out of town for the weekend. I ever so politely put this book down and picked it back up when he came home because had I not, I would have been sitting in this house with every damn light on, like not going to sleep or anything. Like this book, it triggered me in my scaredy cat ways. So I put it down, but I did pick it back up when he came home, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Give me a second. All right. So in this book, Eve is home home alone. See, being home alone is it's not the move. All right, so she is home alone, and this family comes up to her door. First of all, she answered the door. I don't know, but she answers the door, and this family is like, "Yo," or the dad of the family is like, "I used to live here." Or whatever, and I'd love it if we could come in and take a look around. Okay, we gonna stop right there. I am screaming. I'm listening to the audiobook, right? And I am screaming like, girl, 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 don't let them in. Don't let these people in your house. You don't know these people. Do not let them in your house. And of course she does because we need a story, right? And yeah, all kinds of stuff goes down with these folks in her house. And they legit acted like they didn't want to leave. It's it's a nightmare. Truly, it's a nightmare. And by the end of the book, like I was questioning my own sanity. Like it was crazy. I will say I did keep reading because I really wanted to know what was happening. So in that aspect, I thought it was written well, but I wasn't sure about the twists and turns that the story was taking. And at the end, I was just like, what? And get me out of here. And I often feel like that, like with horror movies too. So this wasn't a new thing, but I thought it was still solid. So I gave it 3 stars. Then I read James by Percival Eric. No. Then I read James by Percival Eric. girl. Then I read James by Percival Everett. Okay, this book. Oh, I loved this book. I'm in a book club and we read this as our pick. And y'all, it is so good. It's a reimagining and a retelling of Huckleberry Finn. Now, I don't remember reading Huckleberry Finn like in school, but I feel like I now need to because I need something to compare this to, right? Like, so it is a story about a man named Jim, an enslaved man named Jim. And Jim decides that he's going to run away because they are talking about selling him. And he does. And while he's on the run, he also runs into his enslaver's son. The son, Huck, has also run away because his father was kicking his butt. And so he faked his own death and ran away. Now, these two decide to continue on their journeys together, and all kinds of stuff happens. You guys, this story, I get it, and I fully understand why it's on so many lists, so many best book of the year, and all of that kind of stuff. Like, this book was so well written. I love the way that the story was told in a modern way, if you will. It was funny though, and it was eye opening. It was captivating, very insightful. I suggest it to everyone. I've been talking about it nonstop, and I suggest that everyone check it out. I, of course, gave it 5 stars. All right, so after those couple of reads, I needed something fun. I needed something light, something fluffy. So I picked up The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood, and it was a perfectly timed read for me. It was exactly what I needed. I love this book. It's a fluffy romance, but it is hilarious. Like, I laughed so much reading this book. It's about a woman named Delphi who dies while eating a microwave hamburger. She chokes to death. And then she goes on to the afterlife. And while she's there, she meets a man and she thinks that he's like that dude, right? And so she's like, oh man, but he gets sent back down to earth, right? So she's like, what am I going to do? So she makes a deal that she can go back to earth if she gets dude to kiss her, finds him and gets him to kiss her within 10 days, I think it was. It's been a minute. So uh, and all kinds of stuff happens. She has a grumpy neighbor, and that's a thing. And it's just, it's hilarious. I chuckled and snickered like throughout this whole thing as she tries to find this man that she thinks is her soulmate and that she thinks is her person. It's just a good time. There's a little bit of grief uh, mentioned in this book, but it doesn't dwell on it, and it's a good read. It's a good time. I bleh. I only suggest this one. Um, and the afterlife therapist, Merritt, she is funny AF. So I gave this one 4 stars. Next up, I had a little less fun reading Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Ibiki Iyimide. It is a YA mystery, and I know y'all like there's a lot of YA books on my list this month, and this one, it I hate to say it, but it reminds me of why I don't really enjoy YA. It was it felt a little juvenile to me. So it's about a girl named Sade, and her family experienced a few tragedies, and so she goes off to boarding school. And as soon as she gets there, pretty much, her roommate disappears. Like, just poof, gone, disappears. Right? So they start doing investigations, and she meets the roommate's best friend, Basil. He goes by Baz for short. He's so much fun. He got me through this book, real talk. Um, and there's just a lot going on. But I will say this, like about 150 pages in, I just stopped caring. there were twists, there were turns. There were no oohs and ahs moments for me because I just genuinely did not care. And um, I will say that it was not one of my more fond reading experiences this month. I gave it 2.5 stars. All right, I read yet another YA book last, or not last month, but in October. Like, I don't know who I am, but I read The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I enjoyed this book. I think I can truly say that I enjoy YA fantasy slash romantasy. I think if I stick in that zone, in that particular space, that I should be good with YA. But this one it had me going from start to finish. I loved it so much. It's about a girl named Rune. I believe that's how you say her name, Rune, and she is a rich socialite, but she is also a witch and a witch avenger. Uh, she goes and tries to like free witches that have been captured. Um, and she's also secretly known as the Crimson Moth. And there are people who are hunting for the Crimson Moth, one of them being a witch hunter named Gideon. Gideon is the brother of Rune's best friend. There's so much happening here. And what takes place is basically Rune and Gideon both are scheming. They're scheming their butts off, and they end up kind of deciding to get together. And they each have their own motives. So this book is all about like traipsing through what those motives look like and things. It, it was just very, very entertaining. I love the romantic aspect of this fantasy. I am definitely, I guess I'm into witches. I don't know. I guess I'm into witches, but I can't wait for the next book in the series to drop. I believe February 18th. February 18th it drops. And I mean, I need an arc because I feel like I need to know what's going to happen here. But this is really, really good, and I gave it did I rate this book? I think I gave it 4.5 stars, I think. Yep. All right. The last book that I read in October was I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai. So this book, it's about a woman named Bodhi. She is a podcaster and a professor. And you know how I really mean we, but I feel about like podcast situations and books. I just eat them up for whatever reason. But she's going back to her alma mater where there was a murder that took place while she was there. And while the case was solved, it never really sat right with her, but she's been asked back to teach. So she goes back to teach and she encourages her students to, or a particular student to look into this murder case as their podcast project. And she's so involved, y'all. She's so overly involved in this situation. She can't seem to let it go. She can't seem to shake it. I wasn't sure how to feel about this one. It took me a while to get into it, but once I was there, I was like stuck. I had to finish it. It was slow moving for me in the beginning, but also I just I wasn't floored. Like the ending felt meh, and I wanted something else. I wanted another level. And so with that, I gave it a 3.5 stars because it was entertaining, but it wasn't awesome. Okay, so next I jumped into the Six of Crows series because I was not ready to come off of that fantasy high. I was not ready to come down from that yet. And this did not disappoint. Um, I love, love a heist. Like, that's one thing about me. I love a heist story. And this book involves a crew of folks who get together to perform this like dangerous ass heist. And it it's so good. And when I tell you that I love Kaz Brecker, I love him with my whole heart. Um, because his strategic scheming skills are unmatched. And I mean, they may come back to bite him in the ass. I'll have to see when I read Cricket Kingdom. But this story had me going from start to finish. These characters are so layered, and they all have something that they are fighting for. They all have their own reasons for taking part in this heist. And it's interesting to see those things unfold and those things come to play. I just really enjoyed this, and I will probably hop into Cricket Kingdom this month coming up. I think I rated this book 5 stars. Like, as I was reading it, I said, "Oh, this needs to be a movie." And I know that the Shadow and Bone trilogy was turned into a Netflix series, and I would not be surprised if this one didn't follow suit. So good. Like Lee, I'm sorry, I never said who this was by. Lee Bardugo. She also is the author of, like I said, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and is it the Ninth House or something like that? I think that's also hers. And I am on board. I'm officially a fan thus far. So I reluctantly hopped off of the fantasy train, but I still took a wild ride, y'all. I read, or actually, I listened to Bits and Pieces by Whoopi Goldberg. I tend to love a good memoir, and I love listening to a good memoir because it just feels like a chat with an old friend. Like we're sitting down reminiscing about their lives and things that they've gone through. And this one was pretty dope. Like it wasn't stand up comedy funny, but it was really funny. I chuckled throughout the entire thing. It was more so, she talked a lot about her life, but it was more so about her relationship with her mother and her brother who have passed. And so she goes into a lot of details about how they were with her and helped her throughout her career. Some of those highs and low moments that she's experienced and they experienced together. So this one, it was just really good. It felt like a very heartwarming, therapeutic type of conversation. I thought it was enjoyable. And even though I hate rating memoirs, I gave this one a 4 star. It was fun. The last book that I read in November was This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. This was a book club pick, and we read it because we'd already read the first book in the Skyland series, Before I Let Go, uh, sometime last year, I believe. And so it just seemed natural for us to pick up the rest of the, the series. We also wanted something a little bit light, and we tend to categorize romance books as light books. Although I will say this one, I mean, it wasn't heavy, but Kennedy, she also always has to have like some kind of strife going on in her books. And this one is no different. So the book is about Soledad, and she's Betty now, okay? And she's married to, I'll call him a dog. Her husband is the worst, and basically he decides that he doesn't want to be part of their marriage anymore, and he wants a divorce. And so she has to go through all of that and figure out a way to take care of herself and her daughter. And in that process, she meets Judah. Now, Judah's that dude. He is that dude. If you looked up patience in the dictionary, you would see a picture of Judah. And he also has his own issues that he's dealing with. And I won't give too much of the story away, but it just gets really good. I will say one thing about Kennedy Ryan, I love the way she romanticizes Black love. Like, she is unmatched in that realm. And that alone makes her books worthy of reads to me. I truly, truly enjoy it, and I will be waiting on the third book in the Skyland series for sure. I think I gave this book, I want to say 4.5 stars. Or maybe it was 4. I can't remember. But I enjoyed this book a lot. Kennedy does what she does very, very well. All right, friends. So that's my reading recap, my fall reading recap. I plan to get a lot better about these in the future and do them on a monthly basis because your girl is out here just playing memory roulette, trying to remember details of these books and what's okay to share with you and what's not. So expect to see these coming monthly in 2025. I also am considering doing some kind of stats or something like that in addition to these reading recaps, letting you guys know how many pages I read or physical books versus audiobooks and that kind of stuff. So it's just something that I'm toying around with. So if you're into it or not, drop me a comment down below. Let me know how you feel about it. You know, I love hearing from you all and engaging with you all in the comments. And so I'll keep them coming. Like, I like to see it. All right. So until next time, which will be next week. That part I can guarantee you. What day next week, I'm not sure, but it will be next week. But until next time, and bye.